could be a recipe for success for Florida State today.
Addie Todd, 5 saves against the Dogs. Her best game in a Seminole uniform. She is in net. Brian Penske, National Coach of the Year and National Championship winner. He peers on. We are underway here from Tally. Noles in the all-whites, the #1 ranked team in the country. The Cats in a pretty light blue here this afternoon. Man, I am digging the unis from Villanova. Head official will be Brandon Marion. There in the highlighter, a yellow to the bottom of your screen. I should say to the far right of your screen. Early touches for a Florida State team, 1-1 draw against Georgia on Thursday night. But the Seminoles, it was an avalanche of shots, 36 shots to be exact. And Brian Penske said, we got to be a little more clinical in front of the net. I saw the expected goals from Florida State with the advanced stats. We're expected to put about 3 goals in the net against Georgia, just could not finish. Of course, that major storyline right now, FSU missing 6 players to the U20 World Cup down in Columbia. Jordan Dudley, a headliner down there for FSU. And the Noles also missing Soleil Washington at the moment as well due to injury. Was told she might be out for a couple more games, as FSU down to 13 total players available here this afternoon, and maybe for the next 3 weeks. So Penske talked about how this team would do next to nothing in the days leading up to the match. They stayed off their feet from Thursday to Sunday in hopes of preserving the legs. A lot of players going a full 90 minutes. That was McGovern. Had a notion to shoot, changed her mind in the last moment. Noles will retain possession. As we take a look at one of the great coaches in collegiate soccer. Not easy to replace Mark Krikorian, one of the legends of the game, but Brian Penske has acquitted himself well. How about this? 3rd season, a College Cup, a national title, back-to-back ACC titles. Mr. Penske, welcome to Tallahassee. This is your program now.
Yeah, he started off, really coming to Florida State, kind of dipping his toes into the pond, not really wanting to change too much. He inherited a national championship team, wanted them to continue on with the legacy and tradition that they have really brought, a team that really built up from the back, dominated possession, but over time he has blended that in with his style of being more direct and being an offensive juggernaut through and through, and now he can simply cannonball his way into the pond and say, here, this is my program now indeed, and it's responded and done a nice job of having the players listen to him now.
Simmons, the Tennessee transfer, big burst of speed on the first touch, could not chase it down. Great defense there from the Cats back line in recovery. There from the left back, Neal. Number 34, Olivia Neal, out of Wake Forest, North Carolina, the graduate.
For Villanova, some of these outside backers are actually converted forwards. So Olivia Neal started off like that as a forward. Also Mila McLeod on the other side on the right back position. So those two can definitely work their way up in those counter press opportunities and those counter runs for Villanova. Should they get the ball and should they get rewarded with the ball with an opportunity, those two can really fly up the wings and fly up the flanks.
Carissa Beckman. There's Neal. Neal will have to be pretty big here for Villanova. Samara Azem talked about first 10 minutes of this one will be big for Villanova, a team projected 9th in the Big East preseason standings. Don't tell the Cats that. They're off to a 3-match winning streak. They have won 3 straight, knocking off JU, Penn, and Temple. Combined scores of 6-0 over their last 3 contests. And Samara is starting to feel really good about what this Cats team can do. She said, we're playing clinically, technical, efficient, not wasting time, we're together. And Trevor, we asked her, what's one word that would describe this Cats team? And she said, resilient.
They're going to have to be that today against the #1 team in the country. They're playing right now in a low block, so they're definitely going to try and play that counter opportunity if they win the ball and try and challenge Florida State once they get closer to the box. Bend, but don't break.
Here's Huff, what a ball through there to McGovern. And again, solid defense by the Cats. That was Shoemate, by the way. How about Shoemate? From the striker position, the work rate to get back on defense.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That was very good effort by Shoemate, but good clinical passing right through the center by the Noles. Taylor Huff once again trying to set up Peyton McGovern. Again, as much as we've talked about Taylor Huff as the scorer, she has certainly been all the more just as good and as impressive as a distributor for Florida State in her tenure.
First couple minutes here in the books. First half of Tallahassee. Samar Azem, third-year head coach, 5 seasons at Campbell where she played. And you see the 2020-2021 Big South Coach of the Year. We asked Samar, what's it like now year 3? How's it different from year 1 and the vision you have for this program? She said the type of culture that we've been able to build, the pillars are there now. Players know what to expect, and there's a complete commitment from the group that we haven't seen in our time. Last year, they started 4-0-5, right? 9 matches unbeaten, and Villanova felt really good, kind of tailed off there in conference play. But it's a group that, while picked 9th, could surprise some folks there in the Big East. We know Georgetown and what they've been able to do over the years up in that conference.
Yeah, it's a very gritty conference, and, you know, one thing Villanova has done very well, despite the fact that Coach Azem has only collected 8 wins entering this year. In her first 2 years, they have really done a nice job of defending. They do not allow a lot of goals, so they're very structurally sound defensively, and you need to be that here, especially against a team like Florida State.
Huff taking a shot right there. In position was Dickinson.
And it helps to have Hannah Dickinson being brought over from USC, the pedigree she brings as well. Once again, good long ball over to Huff. Great control by Huff, just chesting that up into the air, but still bringing it down to her feet. And again, working her way to the left for a nice little shot through the middle. But it was a big undertaking for Samar. You know, starting off where she was, you got to also remember that was we're still on the heels of COVID in that time, you know, at the end of 2021 when she comes in. So there's a lot of things to adjust to.
Through ball looking for Hudson from McGovern. A bit heavy. Perhaps just a tick more patience. And waiting for Hudson to run into the path would have benefited McGovern.
Yeah, you mentioned how she's had to reset the culture. You know, wasn't just that, the training, the prep habits, academically getting them, you know, committing themselves in the classroom as well and keeping them bought in. Just so one thing may go not your way, but to stick together. The only way we're going to improve and increase our productivity is by sticking together even in the tough times. And she said it's been a 180 from when I came in terms of what the culture has been.
Hannah Dickinson, the junior from Seattle. Trevor mentioned transfer from USC. Villanova has dipped into the portal for a handful of players as you look, picked 9th. And we talk about Georgetown, UConn. Those have been the 2 teams in the Big East. This is better from Villanova. Leads to a shot. Maybe not the most threatening shot that Addie Todd has faced. However, that is, I think, what Samar Azem wants to see from her group.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually good right now to get a shot on goal. Just get that off the chest, get that out of the way to prove that you can certainly work your way up. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Xavier as well. They're already off to a really hot start as well, Aria, so they could be a member in the Big East that can contend for that conference championship.
And the Big East are used to really good college basketball. One of the best conferences historically. Pretty good in soccer. How good was that ball? Simmons trying to angle to find some space. Runners coming. Here's Huff layoff. That hit the hand. They're going to say no. Ooh, shoulder. Okay. Noles will retain possession as they push into the Villanova defensive half. Simmons now with one touch. Plays it across, headed down. And Neal clears it for the time being.
Such a good ball to Simmons. She just left it a little soft for Taylor Huff, and Villanova was able to get a mini clearance out of it.
Dickinson to Neal, blocked by Simmons, back to the keeper from Seattle. Let's take a look, Trev. Be the judge.
I mean, that arm is extended.
It's a clear handball.
I mean, that arm's obviously out. The key, obviously, as a defender, you want to be like a stick figure, but keep your arms down. Make yourself as skinny as possible. But if those arms are extended, that's probably going to be called. So Villanova gets away with a break.
Approaching 10 minutes down here in this Sunday afternoon game on the eve of a football match at Doak Campbell Stadium that's being renovated, being put together. They put in the bleachers, the temporary seating. And the Noles and the Eagles, they will jostle tomorrow night on ESPN at 7:30.
A lot of angst around Florida State football right now. Did not go the way they wanted to over in Ireland. But the good news is there's still a long season to go, and with it being a 12-team playoff, all you need, if you're in one of these Power 4 conferences, is to win the ACC championship or to win your conference championship. So that's what Florida State wants to do. Still has eyes for that. Still very much possible. Just get into your conference championship game, and that can be your ticket in. You don't have to leave it to the committees.
After the free kick, ball will fall to the possession of Villanova. Neal, analyzed her options, didn't like it, drops it back to the keeper, Dickinson. A Florida State team that is looking for players to seize opportunities in the absence of some of their key players.
Nice feint turn by McGovern.
Good one to McGovern, connects with Suarez. Puerta, ball up ahead, Huff, dribbles around the keeper. Pushed her wide enough for the time being, still loose. Simmons drops it back, shot down, kicked away. Van Zen, Neal has been active early. And the Cats are going to survive that offensive push from Florida State for the time being.
That's excellent poise in the recovery by Villanova. Huff very smartly working the ball away from Dickinson to keep the play alive.
Van Zandt to Huff, finding some space. It's closing down quickly, taken away, and cleared off the line.
Yeah, excellent collapsing defense. Huff thought she had some good pockets of space, but a nice job by the Cats to close in and force the dispossession.
Backman, Texas A&M transfer, angling, looking for support. It's blocked. Still Florida State. In those all-white unis, garnet numerals. A clean look here at home. Simmons, right foot, angling, block, Neal. I have liked the way Olivia Neal has played so far.
Take a look again, going back to Taylor Huff, working the ball away, trying to find Puerta in the middle, but good job in numbers were the Cats. Trying to feed McGovern once again. Nice job by Shoemate. Again, Shoemate, the forward, coming down and helping out her defense.
Huff dangerous from these corner kicks. To that near post, it's loose near the 6. Play on. Will it be a corner or a goal kick? Goal kick it is.
Noles were looking for a foul in the box. Could have an argument, 50-50 perhaps. McGovern was coming down to try and take a shot, or at least gain possession.
We are going to take a hydration break here after 12 minutes and some change. All right, we're going to step aside, still scoreless, first half hydration break.
We return to our interview with the insurance whistleblower. We now return to our interview with the insurance whistleblower.
I just think everyone should know there's an insurance company out there exposing other companies' rates so you can compare them and save.
Sounds like trouble.
It's great, actually. It's called Auto Quote Explorer from Progressive. Here, look. See, we show you our direct rates and their rates, even if we're not the lowest.
So whistleblower usually means you're exposing something bad.
I thought it meant calling attention to something helpful. You know, like, toot toot, check it out. This thing's the best. No?
BK Royal Crispy Wraps. Eat it with the meal or have it as a snack. Only $2.99. It's a hunger hack and it fits in one hand. At BK, have it your way.
Florida State under Brian Penske, known for prolific offense. They set the ACC record for goals last season, but what if I told you defensively they have been even more impressive? That is the key that helps you win national titles.
Yeah, that's all dating back to postseason play. And you go back to the ACC tournament. Again, this is the best conference. I don't think there's really any question about it in terms of the productivity, the rankings, the quality of play in this conference. So, yeah, just 2 goals dating back to all the way back to November of 2023. And this team is just so good. As much as they've dominated on the offensive end of what the records they set last year offensively, it's just as impressive on the defensive end. And as high up as they get. They are so good in recovery, so clinically in disruption and getting the ball back. And not to mention Christina Roque. Can't forget about, you know, the excellent goalkeeping of what Florida State's had for the last 4 years.
How do you think Addie Todd has filled her shoes?
You know, she's still young, and she still has to work her way into game playing experience on this level. You know, she's done a nice job. She showed up, you know, big time for the Georgia game on Thursday after allowing 1 goal. So she stepped up and made some very big quality saves when she was called upon. It's really good. I think the big litmus test for her will obviously be once ACC play kind of kicks off. You know, once you go, you know, and face Clemson, who they'll host here in a few weeks. You know, they go on the road next week, though, against a Florida team that's obviously a rivalry game. Got to show up on the road in Gainesville. And, you know, you're going to have some very big quality opponents, especially toward the later end of October. That's when the time when Christina Roque really made a name for herself, when she faced shots so many times and the quality of competition kind of ramped up. So when you're going to face the likes of Virginia, of Pitt, of North Carolina, those are all at the very tail end of the season. Those will be the games that Addie Todd will definitely be making the most of her opportunities and making a name for herself. But so far, solid, very solid for Addie Todd. Really comes in with plays with a lot of gumption. She comes on up. She's not shy to take the ball up to the midfield.
You ready for a stat?
Hit me.
Florida State plays UF next. You know the last time Florida State lost to the Gators? 2017. It's been 6 games in a row. It has been dominance between the Noles and the Gators. Mark Krikorian and Brian Penske have combined to completely, and I mean just utterly, demolish UF. Here, there, doesn't matter. That'll be a big one in Gainesville later this week.
Yeah, the state of Florida right now, in terms of on the soccer pitch, it is all Florida State at the moment.
Yeah, they didn't play a year because of the COVID, the break that stopped the season. Simmons into a box. She darts forward, looking for help. Keeps the dribble alive.
Great job taking on 3 defenders to maintain the ball around the box.
Here's Huff to her right foot, cuts it inside to Hudson. Hudson had her back to goal. And Nova will try and calm things down. Florida State team we talk about being ranked first. It is the 4th time in the last 6 seasons the Seminoles find themselves at the top of the leaderboard and the rankings to start a campaign. We talked about the dominance of this program and asking around. Surely we have our opinions, but then you ask all the different voices in the soccer world. FSU is the best soccer program running right now in the women's college game. Stanford is still good. UNC is very good, but there is nobody who has matched this consistency and dominance that Florida State has. Suarez, Huff. Nice ball inside. McGovern trying to create some space. Couldn't get it to her dominant foot. Nova so far surviving. Emergency defense has been up to snuff.
Yeah, they've got to lock things down. There haven't been really many chances in the center, and that's the most dangerous part of the field to try and defend, especially with the likes of Florida State being so technical. The center backs of Alex Fava, Irio Mateo, doing a nice job thus far of warding off Florida State with quality shots.
Sophia Owen touches it forward. Puerta looking for a direct long ball. Simmons waits for it to come down. Controls it with the outside of the boot. Lefty cross. Again stifled. But the sky blue, the Cats. Van Zanten. Mimi Van Zanten carries it forward. Hudson finds space one time into the center of the box. And cleared away. And you talk about the dominance again of Florida State, highlighted by being ranked in the top 15 for 158 straight polls dating back almost 15 years. Simmons, ball ping-ponging around. Oh, and a foul called. It'll go the other way.
Yeah, that's the epitome of dominance. I mean, you're talking about levels back in the day when, you know, North Carolina won, I don't know how many national championships it was straight when soccer was getting off the ground. The days where Carolina just took over the program. So take another look. Looks like McGovern got a little piece of it with the outstretched arm. For a second, I thought it may have been a foul call against Simmons, as a Villanova player was down in the box. Either way, there's a free kick to Dickinson.
Simmons dropping it back. That's EY. Little triangle built by Florida State. They do well to retain possession. McGovern. Pretty first touch, soft as she gets forward now, Huff. And right now, Florida State's struggling to just find angles in that final third.
Well, you see Taylor Huff kind of drifting her way back a little bit into the midfield again, or the position where she's kind of had a home for herself here with Florida State, but good mixing between the Noles.
Have a hit there, Puerta. Good save, Dickinson, towards that near post.
Look, she may be small in stature, but boy, does she have boosters in those feet.
Prior to that UGA match, Puerta had scored in back-to-back games against Rice and against UNF. She was looking for her third goal.
Had a nice little run of momentum charging toward that frame. And just lets one loose. Good save by Dickinson, near post.
It'll blow your mind that Ashlyn Puerta is just 17 years old. Van Zanten, good ball, Simmons, let it run. And ran out of real estate. Dickinson read it well off her line.
Simmons just a little bit delayed in her movement toward the ball. She may have gotten a shot off Van Zanten. Very good hard touch. It's right there for Simmons for the taking. Just let it run by a little too much. Definitely could have gotten the ball herself if she wanted to take the possession right then and there. But Dickinson, very savvy and smart, coming up to get it.
Villanova content to sit back in a lower block. They're looking to constrict spaces for Florida State and make life tough. Not worried about possession. Not overly concerned about having the ball. Comfortable without it, told us Samara Zem.
Coach Zem said, you know, she'll be perfectly content and fine with playing in the low block, because she loves the way her players are committed in transition. As much as they are committed, obviously today, they have to be all 11 committed on defense. A lot of them are committed once they have the ball to move their way up. She says she really likes the way they can get 6 or 7 players on the attack within about 8 seconds.
Beckman carrying it forward. Huff drops it back. Van Zanten chipped over the top. Simmons, flag stays down. Nutmeg, that was nice. And again, Nova able to survive.
Yeah, they're just nice job of having about 2 or 3 players around the ball. Nice little rope-a-dope action going on by the Noles. But
that was coined by Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
and that is what Samara Zem told us earlier today about how sometimes you just got to lull a team to sleep and be efficient in your attack. That ball did cross the end line. It'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, she mentioned rope-a-dope Muhammad Ali. She also has mentioned, you know, for her team to move like water. And when I heard that, I was like, well, you got some inner Bruce Lee in you, don't you? And that's, she had a nice little chuckle with that, and she'll take that as well for inspiration. So, you know, when they get back up to Pennsylvania, you know, let's put some images of Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee on the walls for reminders. But they've done a nice job. You know, they've done a nice job, you know, around the ball when it's gotten into the box, put about 2 or 3 in the area, you know, cut off those lanes, but also disrupt and storm the ball, storm the opposition.
So far, they've frustrated Florida State well. Noles haven't had many clean looks in front of goal.
And the other part is, you know, she also felt like if you try and push them too much, if you try and press them, it kind of can play into Florida State's hands, because it then opens space behind and it allows them to make runs and it creates momentum and it kind of frees everybody else around them up. frees the opponents up a little bit, because then they can move a little bit and have to run with it. That's the style that Florida State has adopted with over Brian Penske's times. You see Addie Todd with the ball.
Look how far up the pitch she is.
I mean, that's been a little,
near midfield. Now she's got to hurry and get back.
That's right.
Get on her line. Do they notice that Shoemake does? Oh, but not able to put enough on it to get it over the top.
That's really the first time this season Florida State's had a dispossession that high up, and Addie Todd's had to run right back, and a shot from midfield where she's had to get back into in the box and get the mitts on it. Beckman, rare dispossession on her part. So a little bit more of a high press here by the Cats.
Huff looks outside to Hudson instead. Stops the ball on a dime. McGovern to her right foot. Nice work from McGovern. Has a hit. Took a deflection. Oh, Dickinson was frozen. There was nothing left for her to do but pray. She does get a corner out of it. She survives. Pretty play, though, from McGovern to create that space.
Yeah, beautiful off to her right, and just gets deflected. And Dickinson's certainly taking a big breath after that one.
There's Huff, the captain. Lefty in swinging ball. That's a really good ball to the back post. Down it. Might have caught the post. Still alive. Another shot, and it's in. Mimi Van Zanten finds the opener here on this Sunday afternoon.
Chaos on the far post. Huff goes long ball. Hudson goes up for this ball as well. And it kind of creates a mosh pit and a trip up. As you see, Dickinson stumbled all the way back into the net amongst her own teammates. 3 Cats fall down as they were trying to get in position for that long ball. And Mimi Van Zanten, the one to deliver it after a couple of shot attempts. And Florida State gets that all-important first goal. Mimi Van Zanten coming through for Florida State.
Mimi Van Zanten came on as a freshman from Kildare, Illinois. A family well known in the women's soccer world. Her sister Kiki played for Notre Dame and for the Jamaican national team, where Van Zanten also eligible to play. You see, that's the 3rd goal of the season for Van Zanten and the 4th goal of her career. Last year, ACC freshman team member. Maybe the biggest goal of her career against North Carolina, right at the death, as the clock basically hit 0 to extend the unbeaten streak in what would be an undefeated season for FSU last year. Van Zanten can play wide, can play up in the attack if she's needed. Dynamic, though, coming out of the back for Florida State on the wings.
Yeah, she's a fighter as well, so she'll definitely get into the scrums as well, get some chippiness going. So she is an absolute animal with a fiery personality, and she will certainly, as you said, Aria, come up, charge through the wings, charge through the centers. Really has gotten herself a lot of confidence here over the course of her time with the Seminoles, and that obviously helps when you're surrounded by great talent, but she has certainly developed into one of the best in the ACC and in the country.
Van Zanten, full 90 on Thursday night. And TopDrawerSoccer.com, one of the top and best outlets if you like college soccer. They rank a top 100 every year. Van Zanten started the year at 68 overall. And she's going to shoot up that list when that midseason list comes out. Brian Penske called her the igniter for this team. Her confidence continues to grow. The Seminoles have had a tradition of outstanding left and right backs, wingers that can not only defend at a high level, but get into the attack. Here's Ash, transfer from Portland.
You think about the likes of like a Gabby Carl or a Kristen Pavlisco.
No doubt.
All of them.
Good names there by you, Trevor.
Got it, my man. Those are national champs right there. They've won national championships for a reason.
No kidding.
And they have been very instrumental.
Gabby Carl has carved out a terrific pro career, and especially with the Canadian national team.
Even the likes of like Megan Connolly, more international flavor, have all come through here.
Huff lets it run through. Hudson into the side netting. The fans here right underneath the press box and the announcer booth. You're shielded, so you see the net ripple. They jumped out of their seats.
Look, anytime that net ripples, everybody sometimes has that hope and thought, oh, it's got to be in, right? No, not the case here. A little too wide for Hudson. But it does reward the Noles with another corner, and there goes Taylor Huff to take it. This time with the right foot.
Huff, pretty good ball here to that near post. Dickinson had trouble with it. Ball loose again towards that back post, cleared away.
Neal on the far post. About 4 cats all over there just in case. Well, they recognize that's how Florida State got that first goal. Huff put it over on that side. This time she went more near post.
First sub of the game here for Florida State. Hudson will take a well-earned breather.
Looks like Olivia Lebdowie coming on in for Hudson.
Lebdowie's an intriguing name for Florida State, a junior from Panama City Beach, Florida. Had a goal against UNF earlier this season, coming back from a knee injury. Athletic as can be, though, in the midfield for FSU.
That was a special moment with all she had to go through. Missed all of last season, national championship team, couldn't be a part of it on the field. And when she scored that goal, she sprinted right for the bench.
Huff finds space to her left foot, angles for a shot again off that side netting.
This time not as many FSU fans were fooled.
It reminds me of in baseball and softball, when a fly ball is hit deep, everybody gasps. Just a
How beautiful is this, though?
Routine out.
Just very cheeky play. Just nice job of
pretty.
working your way out of where the swarm's coming from, where the collapse is happening, and understands where the space is to her left. And not only is there space there, but there's an open angle for the goal.
Under 19 minutes to play. That goal by Van Zandt was in the 23rd minute of this game. If you're just joining us, it's 1-0. Florida State. Latter stages of the first half. Aria Masudi, Trevor DeGroat, Luke Broderick, our producer, Abby Longifer, our director. All of our cameras here from the Seminole Soccer Complex. Packed weekends. Talked about the football game. Volleyball over at Tully Gym. A 3-game weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And it ends in a huge matchup against UGA. So the Noles and the Dogs getting very familiar with each other this week in Tallahassee across a number of sports.
And in multiple sports over the last couple months as well.
Top 25 action for Chris Poole and that volleyball team. Off to another good start.
And Chris has done a nice job of building that program and that team up for multiple years now and become a very solid program over the years. But obviously still more to prove, too.
McGovern, pocket of space, through ball, Simmons, cuts it back inside to her left foot, now to her right, it's taken away. Dispossessed there by the Nova back line.
Noles have really gotten the ball to Simmons. She's been very active here in this first half, and the Noles have 12 different goal scorers already this early on. Simmons, however, not one of them, and she led the Volunteers last year with goals and 8 leading the entire team. She certainly wants to find the back of the net, too.
Third player from Tennessee that Brian Penske has now brought over with him. They still wait on Claire Rain and the nasty knee injury she suffered in game 1 of last year, still working back from it. What a shame that was as well. Such a good player. Was expected to be a key contributor on that back line for FSU. This is much better from Villanova. Getting into the attack, getting forward, dispossession there. How about Puerta? Love it. Great defense from the freshman, just 17 years old. Reclassified to be with Florida State this season. One of the top youth talents in the United States. EY, the cross, no runners there. Looked like Puerta in late, but here's McGovern's opportunity.
Back over to Simmons, trying to cut back inside. Does a nice job recognizing the over pursuit by Neal, but again, good job by Villanova working together and finding a clearance. But yeah, you love to see the effort right out of there of Puerta, how young she is. Working back, playing selfish soccer, or unselfish soccer, I should say, going back and helping out on defense.
Another sub coming for Florida State. Camille Ash will come off. Nina Norshi, the Ghanaian international. Nina Norshi, if you look at her stats from junior college, I mean, they will pop off the page at you like no other. 65 goals in 2 seasons with Trinity Valley Community College. Had 7 goals in 1 game. The JUCO All-American. Brian Penske likes offense. He bolstered his team with more attacking options. Foul called.
Their foul called against Simmons. Also another sub, Amalia Cardo for Villanova comes on in. You see Norshi finding some opportunities on that back line. Very engaging as a defender as well, physical. And fresh legs for the Noles, especially on a hot day like this.
Set piece opportunity for the Cats, threatening the Noles back line. Wen does well. Van Zanten watches the ball down to her foot and clears it off and out of the box.
Cloud having some difficulties with that ball, trying to settle it down, and unfortunately she sends it right back to Sophia Wen and the Noles. It's an opportunity right there where you have the ball.
Felt like a chance, didn't it, to connect?
You know, you could maybe squeeze for just a minute, you know, if you can connect a couple passes. And unfortunately, it goes right back to the traditional setting of what has taken place here today. The Noles with the ball at the midfield, and you see once again Addie Todd come on up.
Unique that Norshi's playing center back, huh?
She has had some chances in that department so far this season, but you know, they're a little thin right now. Obviously, you need to, you know, preserve some energy here for Camille Ash and anybody else who you feel like, you know, those energy levels may be fading away a little bit.
Oh, Huff coming up a little limping. She's going to go down. You can ill afford injuries if you're Florida State. And truthfully, to a player of that caliber, hoping it's just a knock.
Oh, she may have had a misstep. I'm thinking right now it's on that left leg.
You wonder also if cramps come into play here. It has been a tough week for Florida State. A lot of their players went 90 minutes on Thursday night in a physical battle against Georgia. And the truth is, Huff might have to go a full 90 again here today. Brian Penske's done what he can to mitigate and preserve the legs and get some rest for this group. They didn't practice, at least on the field, for the last couple of days. A lot of film study, a lot of stretching. Cold tub, hot tub, getting the group ready. But the reality is you're shorthanded, and a lot's going to be asked of every player that is available to come on.
I mean, so many of the players that are gone right now for the U20s are in the midfield. Mary Jimenez, Taylor Suarez, Laura Dantas, they're all away. All have played in the midfield thus far. Of course, can't forget to leave out Jordan Dudley and Heather Gilchrist, Gianna Riley. Those three are all on the U.S. team, as is Suarez. Just take a look. Everybody kind of, I think Venezuela played yesterday, or maybe it was Brazil. The U.S. team gets their first game today against Spain later on. It's a good sign, though, for Huff to walk off under her own power. But maybe for Brian Penske, maybe he elects to give Huff a little bit of a break.
How about what Spain's been able to do as a soccer federation here of late? You get the World Cup, Euro Cup, Olympics, the women win the World Cup. My goodness.
Someone's got to step up and challenge the U.S., right?
Something in that Spanish water right now. Taylor Huff, talking to a few folks who really believe Huff is on pace to get a call-up to the U.S. women's national team, the senior national team, at some point in her career. The Noles had Jenna Niswanger, Emily Sams, formerly known as Emily Madrill, on that roster. Casey Kruger, formerly known as Casey Short.
Jalen Howell's another player who's put herself in position
no
many
doubt
times.
about it.
Just got traded over to Seattle.
No doubt about it. Carson Pickett's been called into a couple of camps.
Future's bright for
No doubt.
the U.S. team, and it could be chock full of Noles over the next several years.
You got 4 of them right now in the U20 World Cup. That means they're on the list. They're being watched for potential opportunities in the Olympics and World Cups for the women's senior national team. Shout out to them for getting the gold in the Olympics. Went and got a Brit to be the coach from Chelsea, Emma Hayes, and made all the difference in the Worlds. That front 3 for the U.S. was unbelievable here this summer. You look at the ties between the U.S. women's national team and the international game in general and Florida State. Oni Echegini, they called her Joe, playing for Nigeria. Gabby Carl with Canada. The list goes on and on. Handful playing for Jamaica like Jody Brown. Cameron Simmons, Kiki Van Zanten, Mimi Van Zanten's older sister. Mimi's had some looks. Leilani Nesbitt used to play with the Bermuda national team. I mean, it is part of the fabric of Florida State soccer is to find international talent, mesh it with American talent, and probably why you have the best soccer program in the country going right now for over a decade.
Well, I think now, too, you see a lot more of the American-born players coming to Florida State a little bit. That's kind of not been the norm. You know, they've definitely dipped into the international. That's how Mark Krikorian really bolstered Florida State into the powerhouse it became.
Simmons, I just couldn't quite turn her body around, turned into a hybrid shot cross combo.
But now you see kind of the changing of the guard with the American players, you know, kind of drifting to Florida State a little bit. Again, 4 of them here on this roster participating in the U20s, and perhaps the biggest among them being Jordan Dudley, who took the world by storm last year en route to a national championship with the Seminoles, surrounded by the talent that you saw in Echegini and Jody Brown, Beata Olson. She was right there in the thick of it with all of them.
I thought that was one of the keys to Florida State's season a year ago, was finding the right role for Beata Olson.
Yeah, she had jumped up to the 9 position the last couple years, but then last year, at about mid-season, early on in the season, though, kind of made the switch, Brian Penske did, putting Beata over on the right wing and putting Jordan in the 9. And that kind of worked out to perfection, literally, for the undefeated season.
Fun team to watch.
And at the end of it, Olsen still got opportunities, scored goals in the national championship game. She kind of freed herself up, found her way into that spot, and it all worked out for the best. She's off signing a professional contract in her own right, too, overseas.
Backman. Oh, too heavy for Puerta. Now Nova will try and connect some passes. Can they keep the ball just a little bit? The pressure has been intense from Florida State all afternoon.
Got to be more subtle on those feet, softer feet. Got to hold on to the ball. Otherwise, the likes of a Taylor Huff, Olivia Lebdowie, they're going to chase you down.
Throw in. Huff back to goal. Pushed out wide, first time cross. And Lebdowie couldn't quite get the weight she needed on it. And Dickinson, an easy save. Under 10 minutes to play here in this first half. Florida State has the goal, courtesy of Mimi Van Zanten in the 23rd minute. Her 3rd goal of the year, and 4th in a Seminole uniform.
Like the fight right there by Neal trying to win that ball before it goes across the touchline. Again, Neal, a former striker herself. Cats, for the most part, have done a nice job in the field of play. Not too many dangerous opportunities in the box for the Noles. That one off the corner is the difference. Those have been perhaps the toughest challenges right now for the Cats. Luckily, though, they've only allowed 3 corners.
Can we shout out some Cats who also had pro signings this past season? Peyton Woodward, Jackie Richards, playing now in Iceland and in Scotland professionally. That's their 3rd player in the last 2 years that this Cats program has had signed pro deals. Good for Samara Zem.
Yeah, she definitely made it a point that, you know, these players want to definitely obviously have aspirations of playing professionally, and she wants that to be a hallmark of her program down the line too. So when you have the likes of a Peyton Woodward and Jackie Richards, that's a good sign.
Intercepted by McGovern. Huff has to chase for the ball. Nods it forward. Touched ahead, Simmons. 1v1, Simmons on the right side of the box. Turns it to her left foot, looking for help. Running on Van Zanten. 1-2 play. Oh, great defense. Wonderful from Fava. Now what can Villanova do in attack? Quickly deflected out of bounds. It'll give the Noles a chance to reset. Heavy legs starting to set in. You look at another look at the defense.
Heads up by Meredith Palmer coming off the bench. You see Omateo off right now for Villanova. Again, it is blazing hot out there right now. Calendar may say September now, but the state of Florida doesn't oblige by that. We're still
I'd argue August and September are the most brutal months.
That's right, because we're still in the summer season at the moment.
Villanova had practice on Saturday and just talked about how hard it was to manage the conditions. Mind you, it's hot in Philadelphia right now too.
No question. They're coming over really on their first big road trip this year and started off in Jacksonville on Thursday night.
Nice 1-0 win there, huh, Trev? Madison Shoemate's goal in the 65th minute.
Yeah, it was beautiful, set up by Susanna Soderman. In a game that really JU kind of dominated the play. You know, they had most of the possession, had more of the chances, and it probably wasn't Samar's, you know, of how she liked it. Probably wasn't their best effort. Probably didn't give their best play. But at the end of the day, they'll take the 1-0 victory and add to it and build off it from there.
Yeah, talked about the dips, right, of a season. When class starts and you go on your first road trip, trying to keep the collective mentality. Something Florida State has a challenge with as well. Certainly the Noles now have added the U20 World Cup to the mix. Simmons, 1v1 against Neal. Simmons wins that physical battle, continuing to try and muscle Neal off. Support comes in the end, a foul given.
What a fight. That was beautiful.
That was fun.
Simmons, though, doing a nice job of trapping the ball. And Neal really giving no quarter, trying to fight her off of getting into the box to make a play or a cross. Really, Shoemate once again coming on down, and the trip forces the free kick here way out wide. Looks like it'll be Huff once again.
See what Huff chooses to do. Has EY as an option at the top of the 18. She will instead go towards the 6, deflected out. McGovern, now EY. Huff still out there if you need her. Yes, you do. She's got it. To the right foot, now cuts it back left inside. Huff again, another cross dealt with well by Villanova. Under 4.5 now to play in the first half.
This time Alex Fava coming through, trying to switch the field. And just too direct here as Beckman will collect it. And again, it gets so frustrating when you play this style of soccer in the low block, where you're trying to push it forward, and you just have to remember to stay in the back of your mind. You know, you have to bring numbers at the same time, but you have to stay close. It's so difficult, you know, going for those long diagonal balls to find possession and sprint back.
Here's Huff. Dangerous spot for her. Oh, Neal again. Perhaps the MVP so far this first half for Villanova has been Olivia Neal there at the left back position. She's pinched in. EY to Huff, and a bit heavy. Huff knocks it out.
Yeah, Simmons nowhere near enough forward for that to materialize. But another good job. Looks like Neal once again. Koch gets disrupted by Norshi coming up. So again, those backliners for FSU not shy to implement themselves up the pitch near the box.
Huff on the flank, right side, cuts it back to her left foot, moves it in centrally. McGovern pokes it forward, intended for Lebdawi. And again, just a little disjointed for Florida State in that attacking third.
And McLeod there at the very end, turning herself around, getting a foot on it. Sending the clearance out for the throw-in. Stuff is just because Villanova's just doing a very good job of not only holding Florida State off on the wings, but even when they get the ball into the box, numbers are surrounding.
Beckman, Van Zanten tried to one-time it to Simmons. It does stay with Florida State. Beckman. Reset to Wen. Knowles will look for the angles now. Norshi will let it run. Not on the same page with EY. Again, chemistry, you see it. Players who have not played with each other for very long. And when you're missing this many players from your overall group, the flow of soccer can sometimes be a little erratic.
Well, that's the conundrum that Brian Penske's going through right now, because he obviously wants to get so much more valuable time in training.
This is better. Puerto on her left foot, now to her right angle, shot blocked. And you hear the Cats bench jump in delight.
Once again, Meredith Palmer, fresh off the bench, standing her ground, doing a nice job of keeping the ball in front of her to get a deflection. But as you take a look again, Puerto, good fight, persistence. But again, Palmer with those long legs, standing at 5'9", doing a nice job, staying balanced. But yeah, this is the issue Brian Penske now faces, because obviously he wants to get a lot of practice time with this new blend and mix. But with the roster so thin right now, he doesn't also want to overexert them, especially with this week in particular, coming off the heels of playing against Georgia and obviously a few days later against Nova. Now the good news is they're going to have several days in between their next several games, and so you have a week before you play Florida, more than a week and a half against Syracuse to start ACC play. So they'll have more chances before their players come back from the U20s or off of injury to even be stronger than they are right now.
Huff with runners coming in, tackle, foul, edge of the box. And we could get a booking here in the waning moments of the first half.
Oh, I've been praising Meredith Palmer too much. This is the first misstep, or a couple missteps she's had. Huff gave her too much credit, thinking that she would be able to get ahead on it, and Palmer mistimed it, couldn't get the ball, and Huff with her pursuit draws the contact, and now an even tighter angle for a free kick. Just a couple yards outside the 18 laterally.
No booking given, so just a foul. Clock stops at 12 seconds. Last opportunity here for FSU. EY to her left foot, cross towards the back post, back towards the middle, deflected, final few seconds, and it will hit 000. 1-0 at the break. Mimi Van Zanten, her 23rd minute punishing strike. The difference so far. Trevor, thoughts on from Thursday night was being a little more clinical in front of net, and they even moved Taylor Huff to the 9 position, more well known as the striker position up top there, and so far to mix results. Getting the shots again, 13 of them as you mentioned, Trevor. What do you want to see more of for Florida State in the next 45.
I think you just need a few more numbers in the center of the box, because I think if you can pass give and goes, that might open some things up to get through Villanova, because Villanova does a nice job of making you think you have pockets of space before they collapse. And got to give a lot of credit to, Samara Zem and her team on that back line. Neal, Fava, Mateo, McLeod, and even Meredith Palmer coming off the bench. They've done a nice job of really locking down the center, but Florida State needs to move them off their spots a little bit by bringing 2 or 3 numbers into the box for some close range passing.
Seeking the first win over an ACC team since 2013 are these Villanova Wildcats, when they took down the Pitt Panthers. What a different era that was for Pitt. Randy Waldrum, the last couple of years, I would look out for Pitt again. They are thumping on the door of making a College Cup.
They've brought so many players back from a year ago that made a great deal of noise, and they've done so the past couple of years. Randy's done a phenomenal job building up Pitt right into the thick of the ACC race, and they love to have the Noles back up there in Pitt, but nonetheless, that is a very dangerous team. And as we've talked about, there's several teams right now off to hot starts. UNC's undefeated. Look at BC and Syracuse. They're doing really good. We can't forget the likes of Virginia Tech. Virginia, of course. Can't forget about the Cavs and the Hoos. It's going to be a barn burner of a race in the ACC this year, as it usually is, but I think maybe more so than before, especially with the Cardinal, with the Bears, with the Mustangs. It's going to be hot and heavy, kind of like how it is right now on the pitch.
Yeah, Virginia team who battled so many injuries last year really wore them down towards the end of the season. See how they bounce back. A proud program over there in Charlottesville.
How can we forget about Clemson either? I mean, Clemson made waves last year.
College Cup.
ACC championship game. Got to the College Cup to face Florida State once again. Eddie Radwanski, what he has done.
And they've got a number of returners back in the fold. Should be a great conference schedule for Florida State. For Villanova, as we are just moments away from the start of the second half. Trevor, what do you want to see from the Cats here in this final half?
Find some possession time if you can, and I know that's going to be such a challenge, but see if you can connect 4, 5 passes and trap the ball really quickly and try and ward off the Noles, and see if you can just find some offensive fluidity up top. See if you can have Madison Shoemate get the ball to her feet. Have Alex Little, who has a ton of speed on the outside and has relentless hustle. See if she can get freed up down the wings. Might take a diagonal long ball, but you try to build a couple passes to start, but then try and free everybody up once you can recognize a run.
Yeah, I mean, it might take Madison Shoemate on a brilliant individual effort, right? The freshman from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, who's scored in back-to-back games.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, she's really done a nice job, finding her opportunities. Morgan Koch has been good on the defensive end, but she has a couple goals too.
Puerta has a hit, whistles over the bar. Oh, you see what makes Ashlyn Puerta, the San Diego native, oh so special, just 17 years old.
It just goes right by Gabby Kaluch. Found a little bit of good pocket of space and a good opening look. Just zinged that one over the bar, just barely. But excellent range, though, nonetheless. That is definitely an encouraging sign. Puerta can score from anywhere.
Spent some time with Gotham FC, has trained with Spain and Portugal. Some professional teams out there. U.S. Youth National Team, U17 member. No doubt will be a part of a U20 World Cup here soon, and maybe even more. Reclassified from the 2025 class to be with Florida State this season. Really good ball. Simmons into the box, and covering her near post well was Dickinson. Big East goalkeeper of the week, Hannah Dickinson. 3 shutouts to her name. Transfer from USC. Veteran presence in net for the Cats.
Starting inside, then go out. Very nice job. Vertical pass and then right to the outlet. Good run by Simmons to collect and fire a shot off.
Rihanna Hudson, 6'2" frame, laying the boom. They're jostling with Lauren Belcourt. Belcourt had a little smirk on her face after that. That's not every day. Get those types of collisions. Rihanna Hudson, unique.
She may have thought, I didn't expect to see her today. Those are 2 forwards right there, duking it out.
And continue to try and work with Hudson. to develop her untapped potential there at 6'2".
Yeah, she's just a baby, too. It's hard to say that when you're 6'2", but nonetheless, she is in the beginning stages of her evolution as a college soccer player.
You see 42 there at the 6-yard box in the center of your screen. Corner earned for Florida State. Easy to dream on, right? 6'2", moves like a gazelle. Brian Penske on Rihanna Hudson, they call her Ree, said sometimes we get Jekyll and Hyde, right? Trying to get her to be a little more ruthless when she plays, the nicest human being you'll ever meet. Corner. Huff towards that back post. And when little Antsy just went for the shot. Yeah, probably had some time to bring it down.
A little too far, though. She was a little out of position, tried to work her way back to get the touch on it. But yeah, you got to imagine Brian Penske's got to feel like a professor in a lab with Rihanna Hudson. Like, what could I do with her? But I don't think they want to spend too much time in the lab. You know, they want to be able to get her with a little bit more immediate production right now. Obviously, with the current state of the program or the team with so many players gone, they would love to see her go quickly. She does have a goal already. That was on a tight angle against North Florida. Trying to find her sea legs. Wins the ball very nicely here, though.
Plays it in the middle of the box. Oh, shot whistles wide. I think Huff was trying to sneak it into that near post and catch Dickinson sleeping.
And just a nice job. Over pursued was McLeod, so it gives Rihanna a beautiful chance. Works her way inside to the box. Yeah, there was just no angle, though, for Huff to hit that near corner, or that near post. Probably would have done better to go outside or find another opportunity to a fellow teammate in white.
Bagman, deep lying midfielder. Brian Penske went and got some experience there from Texas A&M, where she started nearly 60 games as an Aggie. Played 30 minutes against Florida State last season for the Aggies in opposition.
Yeah, I think she's one of the more superb markers in all of college soccer.
EY looking for runners. Huff! She will make no mistake. Taylor Huff goals in back-to-back games. And the Noles have some breathing room here in the second half. Trevor Taylor Huff as calm and cool and collected as you like.
EY just does a nice job crashing down the wing, just does a nice job receiving the pass on the run, and Taylor Huff is left wide open. Nobody in the middle this time for the Cats to mark her down. And Huff notches her 5th of the season. She is just on a tear right now on the score sheet, but a true leader by example right now on the pitch is Taylor Huff.
And what a development it would be for Florida State. Huff, known for playmaking, creating for teammates. That's what she did in her time in Tennessee. It's what she did last season for Florida State when she led the ACC in assists. If she starts getting some of her own here, Trevor, you talk about a complete player in the form of a Joe Echegini type of player that can get up and down, clever enough to play in the midfield, ruthless enough to play in the attack. And Taylor Huff, there are NWSL scouts that are starting to take notice of her, and she'll be drafted very highly here in January.
I think it obviously helps right now, Ari, the fact that they're doing so with the roster as thin as it is. So it's not to say that Florida State's devoid of talent. They certainly aren't, but there's a lot of youth and inexperience here. And when you can still produce results against competition, solid competition, that'll definitely draw some eyes.
Huff really feeling herself, touching the ball with every possession. 5th goal of the year for Huff, 27th of her career, spanning 2 schools in the ACC and the SEC.
But boy, I got to imagine she'll be giddy as a schoolgirl when, Jordan Dudley comes back, Gianna Riley comes back, Taylor Suarez, Dantas. I mean, all of them.
It's an embarrassment of riches, Trevor.
It is really insane because and many of them are new, too. Some of these are like freshmen. Suarez, Dantas.
Huff, eyes in the back of her head to find Puerta. Shot whistles. Ooh, high, just to the right, aiming for that upper right 90. How can you not like what Ashlyn Puerta brings to the table.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so good. And when she has that space, and she has great vision and has a lot of confidence shooting the ball from that far out. She kind of reminds me of a former player here for FSU, Maria Alagoa, who was very similar in size, had an amazing goal several years ago here against Alabama from long range. I believe we were both on the call for that one. That was a highlight goal from Maria. But she kind of reminds me of that in terms of the way she moves and the fact that she has that long range capability. But off to a flying start here as a freshman.
Ryan Penske touched on the role that Taylor Huff would have to have for his team this season. Said you've lost a lot of the vocal leaders and the figures that you find in the locker room, right, that rally the group, that make sure everyone's doing the right thing, keeping everyone in check. Huff last season, a bit shy, right? When you talk to her, soft-spoken, deferred, deflected, really was just trying to find her footing. Talented player, no doubt, ruthless with the ball, but really trying to find her form in her first year in Tallahassee. Make no mistake, this is her team this season, a captain for the Noles, and one that has taken on the leadership role for Brian Penske. Simmons. Out wide, EY, veteran, right back. Looking for a lefty curling ball to Hudson. Not quite on its mark. Dickinson will collect. Noles 2, Villanova 0.
You talk about leaders, Aria. Another one of them is Ron Ely, and someone who, you know, has been here for several years, even back to the COVID years. She's kind of been given the green light to speak her mind if she needs to as well, and she's as soft-spoken as they come as well. You know, adjusting, you know, from a different country in Japan, and look at what she's done already this season with 4 assists. She has beautiful service into the box.
No doubt about it.
So for anybody like a Rihanna Hudson, a Jordan Dudley, Taylor Huff, who wants to just charge in, put a one-touch right on frame, she rivals Taylor Huff, honestly, with service. Because that's what, you know, those are the two that really cover over the ball. It's either Huff or EY. And you check out how many games she has logged for Florida State, the most of any FSU player.
And really the last player, Trevor, that has experience with Mark Krikorian as well for Florida State. The
That's
hybridization, this is really Penske's team now and his philosophy and his ideology. EY, though, has transitioned well. Couldn't have been easy, right, for Ron. And Ima Umezami, the former assistant coach for Florida State, who had the connections to the Japanese circuit and the national team program over there, Ron EY from Tokyo, staying in Tallahassee, trusting what Brian Penske had put forth, and she's been rewarded for it. A big role, a national championship to boot. She's got a couple already in her career, spanning 2 coaches. And EY, just that steady presence there, number 7 on her back. Quiet, composed, doesn't say a whole lot, but her play speaks loudly.
Well, she'll need to be composed here. Here's a corner opportunity for the Wildcats. Gabby Kaluch out there to take it for an in-swinging ball for the Cats. And she'll go short.
See if the Cats can capitalize. Long ball towards that back post. It whistles just wide. Oh. By the whiskers of the post.
The Noles keeping everybody obviously in the box. It allowed Nova to take the short option. Neal just missing the mark with Meredith Palmer. Looked like Belcourt as well on the far post could have come in, and Todd takes a bit of a tumble with Belcourt. So just missed the mark, did the Wildcats. That was their best opportunity of the day.
Puerta, Huff, Simmons, flag stays down. Now EY. Heavy touch. Neal wins it for the time being. Ball loose. Knowles corralled. Cats clear. Van Zandt, one of the goal scorers here this afternoon. Very ho-hum, comfortable 2-0 lead for FSU. Hasn't been flashy, hasn't been technically perfect. They've never really been threatened by Villanova. We'll see if that changes tactically here over the final 30 minutes. And if Samara Zem's team takes some chances. Simmons looking for space, creates. Then her shot saved by Dickinson.
Well, outside of turnover in the midfield in the first half and that recent corner, those are all the chances that Villanova's had. Solid defense once again by Olivia Neal. Again, she is a converted forward. And even though, you know, you may look at it, she's a grad student, as is Alex Fava, you know, Coach Zem told us, you know, while they may have the experience in terms of how old they are and in their classification, they're still youthful in experience. And the fact that they're putting up quite the fight, as you see Dickinson getting attended to, getting stretched out with the right leg. Looks like there'll be a water break as well. Showing that really putting forth a really good effort here against Florida State to only be down 2-0. Still 32 minutes to go, but good effort nonetheless by the Cats.
2-0 Florida State. Water break, hydration break, and tally. We'll take it with them.
We now return to our interview with the insurance whistleblower.
I just think everyone should know there's an insurance company out there exposing other companies' rates so you can compare them and save.
Sounds like trouble.
It's great, actually. It's called Auto Quote Explorer from Progressive. Here, look. See, we show you our direct rates and their rates, even if we're not the lowest.
So whistleblower usually means you're exposing something bad.
I thought it meant calling attention to something helpful. You know, like, toot toot, check it out. This thing's the best. No?
Everyone ready?
I was born ready.
Nope.
From the director of Toy Story 4,
Yes!
experience Transformers like never before.
Come on, I'll introduce you to the crew. This is Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, he's foreign. Oh, Steve! No!
On September 20th, witness the origin of the Transformers. We roll out.
What?
Louder.
Transform and roll out!
Transformers 1, rated PG, only in theaters September 20th.
Taylor Huff, one of the best players in the country, will make it 2 for Florida State here.
Just beautiful one-touch service from EY. Pretty simple rinse and repeat. Those two, the veterans on a very youthful Florida State squad at the moment, just dialing it up one more time. And just Huff is as clinical as they come. She's just been an absolute machine, going 90 minutes in so many of the games here so far this year. You just take a look at what she's done. Has started all of the last 23 games, collected 7 goals, 14 assists, and third most assists in a single season for Florida State. So she was primarily the distributor to set up the veterans like Jordan Dudley and Beata Olson, Onia Chagini, Jody Brown, and now she's kind of come in and right now, as it stands, the main goal contributor for Florida State.
Already 5 goals in what is her senior season, 7 all of last year, as you saw on that graphic. Huff goals now in back-to-back games for FSU. They'll rely on her with all the pieces missing down in that U20 World Cup. Was told they could be back September 20th in that ballpark if the United States is to make it to the championship game. Certainly Brian Penske's not rooting for the U.S. to struggle in group play. However, if there's a silver lining to it, go America always, by the way.
That's right.
If there is a silver lining to it, is that you might get some of those players back just a bit sooner in time for ACC play in the conference portion of your schedule. And the trick for Florida State is you've got players representing 3 different countries. And no doubt if Florida State finds 4 or 5 pieces who get an increased role and an opportunity and minutes here while those starters are out, and you add it to the pot when they all come back, you might have the makings of a team that can go back-to-back for national titles. A group that's a favorite to make the College Cup, no doubt. 4 straight ACC titles as well. Towards that back post, headed back across. It's loose. Huff. It's on a bounce. Hudson popping it towards that back post. Dickinson pounds it away.
That ball bouncing all across the 6 box. Hudson starting it off by chipping it to the other side. For Van Zanten to get a hold of it, and then it comes right back to Hudson. A nice punch out by Dickinson.
A scrum in the box will lead to a throw-in for Florida State.
Mentioned the U20s already off to a good start. If you're a Seminoles fan, representing Brazil with a 9-0 victory over Fiji.
So Dantas' Brazilian side off to a good start.
It looks like here, I think Laura Dantas scored in the 4th minute of that game, so she got the score.
All the way through, the shot saved by Dickinson.
What a charge from Beckman through the center.
Wow, Florida State thought they had a third.
Just good feed, good combo right here over to Huff, and then sets it up beautifully for Beckman charging through. Just couldn't get a hard strike to blast it past Dickinson.
Beckman, McGovern. McGovern angling, her shot is saved again. Dickinson, a couple of brilliant moments on back-to-back shots from Florida State.
You can tell Florida State is beginning to wear Villanova down. They're getting more dangerous looks, quality shots, quality chances. McGovern, great hustle, and that one just poked by Dickinson just to get it past that post. Had maybe an angle, maybe it touches the post, maybe it trickles in, you never know. But again, another corner. Cue it up for Taylor Huff.
5th corner for Huff. It'll be an in-swinging ball. Huff towards that 6-yard box, now back post. And we'll do it again from the other side.
Gabby Koloch in there once again. The heartbeat described by Samara Zem. Who does a great job in possession and defending. Makes a lot of things work. But again, Noles have a shot at a corner. They're 6th. Nova playing a little bit close to Taylor Huff in case she likes to go short or outside.
Noles do go short this time.
It's an interesting decision by Huff.
Yeah, it's a poor decision. She doesn't make very many of them. Typically when the opposing team has a defender there, that's your signal to go to the box.
Yeah.
Brian Penske didn't love that moment. You can see him shaking it off. Looking at one of the best players in the country going, what are we doing there?
It's like you got a 2-0 lead. It's like, well, let me try something. But, you know, you can't get too cute in this game. You know, a moment like that, you know, can really give the opponent some confidence. Make them feel good about themselves.
.26.5 left to play here in Tallahassee. Florida State on short rest here on this turnaround after an absolute physical battle between two juggernauts on Thursday night. That was fun. Dogs Noles, 1-1 draw. Keidani McAlpine has UGA in prime position to make a run in the SEC. May not be the final time you see those two teams play each other.
Very well might not be, and you know, big kudos to Jordan Brown, who really held it together for much of that match in net for Georgia. Really denied the Noles some quality shots at the end of it all. And I know it probably wasn't the cleanest game for Florida State, but they were still able to fire off 36 shots. It took a very big effort from Jordan Brown to deny Florida State the victory, and it broke up an 18-game win streak. So, you know, Georgia obviously wanted to come in here to take the win with a shorthanded Noles crew. But they'll definitely take a draw on the road against the #1 team. But yeah, they're a threat. Reigning SEC champs. Can't be taken lightly.
The Noles are a threat here on the possession into the attack. Huff controls, lays it off McGovern. Now Puerta cutting it to her right, angling for a shot, and it bends wide.
She opened herself a little too much out to that right. And more Villanova Wildcats crashing down. Little's going to come up right from behind, kind of swipe at her at the last second. Yeah, Puerta just, let that ball touch a little bit too far outside. Didn't give her the angle.
Substitutions coming into the match for Nova. Florida State will also give some run to Lebdawi. See Samara Zem giving some instructions as Olivia Marone will come in. And Mila McLeod, the Vandy transfer. Try and catch her breath. We talked about transfers. And Villanova has had a handful. Olivia Neal transferred from Campbell. Madison Shoemate started her career at UCLA. Mila McLeod starts her career at Vandy. Hannah Dickinson at USC. That is the new age we are in. Villanova needed the reinforcements. They lost 10 players from last year's squad, 5 starters.
And they've got 10 newcomers coming on in. And again, touched on, some of these players, good handful of them are playing in positions that they're not used to. Converted forwards back to outside backs.
Hudson, T-Y-E-Y, McGovern. McGovern trying a little cheeky pass to Hudson. Foul called. It'll go the other way.
See Alex Fava in there as well. She's another converted player. She's kind of played more midfield. She's in a center back role as of right now. Yeah, Hudson just boxing out. A little too clear, not making the play for the ball. Especially high as well. The 6th foul for Florida State. Again, only 2 fouls for Villanova. So as tough as it has been playing on their heels, they haven't really drawn too much contact. I think that speaks volumes for a team that really prides itself defensively and not putting itself into harm's way or putting themselves in an unfortunate spot. They're doing a really bang-up job against a team that really does weigh heavy on you.
Backman in the channel. Looking for support. That one cleared away.
Yeah, missed that pass behind Taylor Huff. Lebdawi tried to make something out of it.
Now Nova. Numbers and support. Belcourt. Foul called.
Hard check by Puerta to Madison Shoemate.
As Ashman was taken down. 19 there on your screen.
Correction, Ashman.
Graduate from Binghamton.
Samara Zem calls her a piano carrier. Likes to really move things along, fluidity. And actually is registering 5,000 career minutes for her career.
Towards that back post. It'll be a goal kick for Florida State.
Did so there in the first half, so congrats to Lauren Ashman. So we get a water break once again. There have been plenty of them here in this hot day here in Florida's state capital.
We can keep it here, you and I, Trev.
Yeah, we're good. Take
Handle
a quick swig
break
ourselves, but we're good.
Ziran Ewai, Camille Ash, Nina Norishi. Florida State adding a couple assistant coaches here this season. Micah Bledsoe, Jonathan Bornstein. You might know the name Jonathan Bornstein, MLS, as well as Team USA, the U.S. men's national team for a number of years. They joined Bobby Shuttleworth, who was big with Atlanta United, had a good MLS career himself. So Penske has bolstered his staff. It's an FSU team, though, that will be, again, we talked about it almost ad nauseum about the Noles will be without 7 players here for the considerable future, at least throughout the month of September. At Florida next week, little SEC network action for those of you wanting to watch. Cuse at SMU, Clemson, Wake. It's not going to be easy for FSU, and you're looking at maybe that SMU-Clemson stretch to get some of your players back and reinforcements for Florida State. So maybe a blessing in disguise if you see on the screen there, September 8th to September 19th. 11 days off, and you get a break. That's big time for Florida State and a group that's going to need some rest, no doubt. And then for Villanova, this stretch of Florida State, Wake Forest will teach them a ton before Bucknell, Cornell, and then Seton Hall and Creighton to start Big East teams. We're going to find out what Samara Zem's group is made of and how they factor into that Big East race. And for Florida State, as they continue to evolve, as they continue to find out answers, every game matters, right? You don't want to say that wins and losses don't matter this time of year. Of course they do. However, you want your RPI to be in the best possible spot. For Florida State, you just want the chance to earn the opportunity to host throughout the NCAA tournament all the way through the College Cup. That has been the golden formula for FSU throughout the years to make it to that Final Four.
Yeah, it's such a difference. You know, these players, you know, with high pedigree, they travel a lot, you know, and they're not here collegiately. They may be internationally. They may be in national programs. You know, they may be, you know, playing as much soccer as they can certainly attain. And so, you know, you want to be able to, you know, have the comfort of staying at home, not have to take a plane trip or ride on that bus. Those are long hours and not great for the legs for an extended period of time. So that's all the importance, and it's been such a great home atmosphere for Florida State. Really, for the better part of the last 15 years, it's been such a hard place to win if you are the opponent on the road. Another good run here. Looks like Wynn outside, crossing into the box. Great job by Dickinson. Noles still have the ball, but a nice job again by Nova, getting the clearance, fighting hard.
Yeah, Trevor, it's just been the story for Florida State. A lot of balls, service into that 6-yard box. They've only been able to come away with 2 goals so far, but they have enjoyed a lion's share of the possession.
Yeah, rare chance for Sophia Wynn to get out there, but nice reach. Excellent job in the air by Dickinson. And then the Wildcats in support.
McGovern has a hit,
Good
blocked,
close.
staying
Good
with
close.
it.
Good close down right there. And really outside of Taylor Huff's goal, I mean, Villanova's done a nice job just clamping down the center. Now's your chance to really get some passes, but just Florida State just swarms so good themselves.
It'll be a foul. Be going the other way as Villanova will make another sub. Trevor, you know the last time Florida State played a NCAA tournament game, not in the College Cup, away from Tallahassee? It's going to blow your mind.
That's, if I got to guess, I'm going to put a year on. I'm not going to say the date. I'll probably say the year. I'm going to say maybe 2016.
You're close. 2017.
I gave him too much credit.
Foul there. So point being, Florida State has made a habit of playing all its NCAA tournament games and earning a chance to play at the Seminole Soccer Complex all the way through the College Cup. Now for the better part of 8 years.
And you know, the other part of that is there have been years where they have not won the ACC championship, and yet they still get to host so many years because of how dominant they were in the regular season, because of quality wins that they can put on their resume.
Well, the truth is Florida State almost rarely falls below number 4 in the country. If they're either number 1 or they're somewhere in the top 5. UCLA, the last team to beat Florida State in an NCAA tournament game in Tallahassee back in 2019. You and I had that call.
Yeah,
what a game that was.
That was a shock to the system, I think, for everybody here in Tallahassee to watch.
The Bruins came with a mission in mind.
That was the last game for Dana Castellanos, so that was a hard way for her to go out.
4-0 for Amanda Cromwell's group.
Highly impressive.
Now UCLA, USC off to the Big Ten. That changes the complexion of things. Texas, Oklahoma, now in the SEC, Stanford, SMU, Cal, join the ACC. This modern age of conference realignment. I am vastly intrigued by how that looks going forward.
Yeah, it's just a heavy amount of teams, just adding to these other already, big power conferences. But you take a look, just again, the resume that this program has built up for itself. The four national championships all coming within the last 10 years, 14 College Cup appearances, 24 straight NCAA tournaments alone. That's the fourth best active streak. And if they keep this up, they may certainly break it down the road.
Since 05, when the FSU program really jumped to another level, the Noles have won 91% of their games at home. I mean, it is insane. A number that no one else can match. It's near perfection in Tallahassee.
So I know Kadani McAlpine is probably disappointed with not coming away with a win, but the fact that they didn't lose also, the fact that, you deny that percentage, you tick it down just slightly, is a feather in the cap. He's done it a couple times here, back when he was with USC.
Van Zanten wins that 1v1 battle, turns it upfield, looking for support, charging on.
Good job by Little.
Ball taken away by Little.
Not giving up on the play. And that's the kind of fight that Samara Zem wants to see. You don't quit on the play. You work your way back, stay engaged. When you're not attacking, you're defending, and you get the ball back. Little making the most of her opportunities. Only played in 10 games last year, but did score 2 goals. She gives a high five to Olivia Neal, and she deserves it too. She has really put a lot into this match today, working on Cameron Simmons and anybody else who's come past across her face, across her feet.
Here come the Noles.
Good job by Simmons, holding on to the ball, moving a little bit left to right, up and down. Works her way back to Addie Todd. And Noles now just content with this, Ari. I mean, you're up 2-0. Villanova still not pressing you too much. Good outlet pass by Wynn.
Simmons, low driving cross, another corner coming for Florida State. That'll be number 7 here in the 76th minute.
Finally some shade coming onto the pitch. I think that makes everybody happy a little bit out here. It has been brutal. It says 90 degrees, but it sure doesn't feel like that. Huff going to tee it up one more time.
Towards that near post. And it'll be a goal kick this time.
Yeah, caught the back of Sophia Wynn's head and couldn't get underneath the ball in the direction that she wanted.
Todd, sophomore from Littleton, Colorado.
Have EY right now in the center for Florida State, kind of working their way up into the midfield. Look at the effort here on the outside. Trying to track down that ball was Shoemate. Yeah, EY in that 6th position right now, giving Carissa Beckman a break. EY has some experience there. Early last year, EY kind of positioned herself, actually fed Taylor Huff with a beautiful goal early on against Texas A&M in that opener in 2023 that led to the victory late in that game. Again, that just goes to prove the versatility of this group. Willing to play positions, any position that they can. They love this game. They want to play it. But it also just gives more experience for Nina Norshi, Camille Ash. Gets them some valuable playing minutes. And yeah, going forward, you know, they're going to value the time off a little bit here, I think, Ari. Obviously this week with the game Thursday, very hard against Georgia. This one, brutal heat against the Villanova team that doesn't make it easy on you. But now you get a chance to rest your legs a little bit, go on the road in a rivalry game, so you'll definitely be motivated against the Gators. And that'll start ACC play where you get even a bigger break.
Lebdowie. Space was closing fast under her left, has her hit, and it's blocked.
An impressive play by Meredith Palmer at the very end of this. Lebdowie trying to work her way around, but Palmer, great job. Lebdowie just a little too lackadaisical there, firing it off. Could have fired it off sooner. Palmer doing a nice job staying in front of it.
Florida State will recycle the ball. Todd playing high near midfield as the keeper. Direct ball into the box. Huff dances with the rock. Drops it back. And retrieves. Nice chip over the top, looking for McGovern. She pops it into the air. Another corner coming for Florida State. That'll be number 8 here on the afternoon.
Doing a much better job with 5 in this second half.
A lot of these Noles having to play a full 90. Now for the 2nd consecutive game. And some of them 3 straight since the match against Rice last weekend. Talked about September 8th to September 19th, a chance for 11 days to recharge the legs for Florida State. They don't have a game for a little over a week and a half. Unique scheduling, but maybe to the advantage of what Ryan Penske has at his disposal. Corner kick. Ooh,
wow, great pluck out of the air. Great gloves. Not giving anybody a chance in white. Sophia Wynn once again in the middle of that. It looked like EY was there too. But the height advantage for Dickinson coming into play with those long arms. Good performance for Dickinson today, 9 saves.
Hudson. Lebdowie in support.
There's that physical presence that Hudson's trying to develop.
Graham. Norshi whiffed. Koch up ahead. Space here for Soderman. And a corner earned by Villanova. And so some late life yet here for Samara Zemsai.
FSU took some chances right there defensively and to no avail. Norshi comes up too strong. Van Zanten can't get a touch. That freed up Soderman. Good job by Camille Ash being the last line for a chance into the box. Or around the 6, I should say. And it rewards the Wildcats with just their 2nd corner of this game. Still have a chance to make something out of this, Ari. I mean, you're not completely out of the woods yet, but obviously you need the 1 first. You don't know how many more opportunities you're going to get, so take advantage of this moment.
Towards that back post. Nodded away, Norshi.
Good job elevating, did Norshi.
Stays with Villanova. Knowles dispossessed. EY clears.
How about Brianna Hudson wrapping around like a blanket? A little too close for comfort, perhaps. Any harder, and that might have been a foul.
Shoemade. Drops it to the wing. Back to Shoemade. First touch let her down. She's working hard to try and get it back. A little tugging and pulling on Wen. Foul called.
It just hasn't been Shoemade's day to find chances and opportunities. But still, freshman already with so much success with 3 goals, has half of Villanova's goal total right now.
Nova continues to work its way on defense. They've been pretty good. Florida State does have 26 total shots, a whiff there. Could the Noles have a third? Here in the box now, Simmons, Hudson, and the Cats clear.
Admire the effort by Simmons making something out of that by that long ball. Testing the limits of that back line. But this was, going into this match, Shamar Azem told us, this match is a great test to see how good we actually are, where we stand in the grand scheme of things.
Simmons, solo run, diving into the box. And again, cleared off.
And for the majority of it, they've done a bang-up job. And they're shorthanded a little bit too. They don't have all their legs with them as well.
No doubt.
Morgan Koch with a shot way off the mark. Just trying anything at this point. But again, that's where that patience, you got to have it in those moments where you have a look. And I know it looks tempting with Todd coming out of net off the line, near the top of the 18, but got to also think, what's the best possible chance that we have? What's the best formula? What's the best play we can make to come away with the goal?
Yeah, and Samara Zem's trying to figure out ways to restrict the space. She was imploring her team to raise the line a little higher, to push higher up the fields. That message got to the group a little late there. It is a throw-in.
Yeah, you just don't have a lot more time now, and so this is the part of the match where you empty the gas tank, give everything you have to make something out of it. Come away with the goal, go back to Pennsylvania with something, Take a goal away from Florida State, make it a 1-goal game if you have to.
Yeah, things you can build upon, no doubt.
They've certainly shown tremendous fight today.
Huff, Backman, tried a 1-2 with Hudson. And perhaps just some heavy legs creeping in.
That or Lebdowie was still out there as well. Good pass by Koch, but again, Mimi Van Zanten and that FSU defense.
Hudson barreling ahead. 6-2 frame.
Well done by McLeod. With Hudson draped all over her, still able to dispossess. Slide tackle by Van Zanten, but it will give Villanova a goal kick.
Under 5 to play. Knowles trying to wear down Villanova. In command, 2-0.
Looks like Mateo will come back into the match for McLeod. Coach Azem really likes her smarts, has some U17 Canada experience.
Towards the middle there, Hudson denied. How did that stay out of the net? Hudson found herself all alone.
Meredith Palmer again.
Now Lebdowie, she tries for the Knowles third.
My goodness, Meredith Palmer, I gotta say, if there's an unsung hero on this team, especially in this second half. Meredith Palmer's been it. Had some critical saves in the end of that first half too. She's done a nice job of blocking and getting in front of really some big emerging threats into the box by the Noles. She's just a freshman herself out of Waxhaw, North Carolina. Huff kind of drifting her way back into the midfield again.
There's EY. Norrishi. Beckman. Green grass. 1-2. Back to Beckman. Beckman stumbles over herself.
Man, she did a great job passing there, too, to help with Hudson. Just tripped over the ball. Beckman's one of those players who's a very hard worker, Aria, and she's done a great job. She's gotten so many chances in so many starts with Texas A&M. As you see another look, unbelievable block. I don't know if that hit the face of Palmer. My goodness. That ball came in really high off the foot of Hudson. Man, she is tough as nails, proving her worth, the young freshman.
The Seminole team, 27 games unbeaten. Poised to make it 28.
Make it 39 straight games with a goal.
Prolific scoring attack for Florida State. 28 more shots here this afternoon.
Good job by Soderman dispossessing. But again, goes right back to Florida State. And what makes them so tough defensively is they get so wide too. As you can't go through the middle sometimes, so you try and flare the ball out wide, and they just cover so much ground. They're so very well, not just skilled at what they do and talented, but they have so much stamina. It's like the energy meter almost never goes out with them. And this is kind of the time with how shorthanded they are, where we're going to test the stamina. We're going to see how much energy they got. Boy, they certainly do have it.
Final 90 seconds here in Tallahassee. Trevor, thoughts on the Noles as they move forward and try and take on the gauntlet of the rest of this non-conference schedule with all their players down in Columbia for the U20 World Cup. Thoughts on this 90 minutes?
No, it's been very solid. I mean, get a lot more shots off. Several of them on target. A little under 50% for shots on goal, but nonetheless, they've kind of worked their way. Kind of maybe can get a little bit better in the midfield with setting some runs up, find some pockets of space. But then, you see Taylor Huff do that with Ron Ely, connecting once again those two vets, dialing it up, outside to inside, charging into the box. Those are the kind of moments you need, I think, for a little bit more improvement from Florida State tactically. But they still have so much range and can score from anywhere, and you have to be ready. Villanova did an admirable job today. But again, you just got to find a way to counter when you can, and they just really never had a tough threat, a really big threat against Florida State, and that's a complete team effort for the Noles.
A yellow card shown to the Seminole bench. Ryan Penske tries to laugh it off. Stopping the clock.
He's probably like, can we get out of the sun, please?
30 seconds left to play. Goals from Mimi Van Zanten and Taylor Huff. One in the first half in the 23rd minute, another in the 51st. Have Florida State up 2-0. Nova, perhaps one last gasp for them. Something to build upon as they head back to Philadelphia. Soft shot, drifts wide. And as the final few seconds tick off the clock, a very consistent, strong, workmanlike performance from Florida State. They remain unbeaten 2-0 over Villanova. Job well done by the Noles here at their home park.
Your final score, Florida State.